I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, October the 31st. Happy Halloween. Brought to you in part by Witex Corporation. Established in 1967, Witex provides excellence in animal health, including but not limited to all-American ID tags for all classes of livestock. For more information, go to y-tex.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver, Oklahoma, for their regular cattle auction here on Tuesday. Going to have about 2,800, a little bit lighter. Of course, it's not wet there. It is in the meat of Oklahoma, but it's cold, and we got fair weather farmers. I think all of us are a little bit. That first cold snap, it takes us a little bit to get used to it, and they had a few cancellations on the calves, but they're going to have kind of a yearling special at Beaver County Stockyards. And if you cattle feeders remember fondly those green grass yearlings that came off late in the summer, they've got a long string of grass yearlings. I mean, coming off dry grass, guys. The Radcliffe cattle, they've got about 600 head of them. Going to weigh in the upper 8s, up to 9.5, round in there. I mean, green, fancy, black, hard yearling steers. They're going to be as good as cattle as you can buy, especially this time of year. You just don't see those hard yearlings like that. But they've got about 600 of them in there. Got another 5 loads of yearling steers that'll be yearlings, but they won't be those really green ones like the Radcliffes bring in. But there'll be nice yearlings weighing around 800 pounds. Got 1 load of heifers, yearling heifers there, weighing in the 7s. Not going to have quite as many calves as they've had the last few weeks. Maybe 12 or 1,300 calves. Again, mostly unweaned. 1 consignment of little peewees weighing in the 2s. They'll be coming off, be splitting from some cows there. But a good sale there at Beaver County Stockyards. If you're interested in that sale, get on to DVAuction.com. Call them and get approved so you can bid. But be as nice a set of yearlings as we see sell here for quite a while. What futures collapse are we talking about? Plus, I've got your Punchy pick winners here because it's the last day of the month. But what futures collapse are we talking about? We're 1 week removed from that horrible Bloody Monday that we saw a week ago, where your spot month on both live and feeder cattle futures were down over $6. We unlocked the next daily moves limits there, which were 12 1/4 and $10 on fats. But we didn't see that on Tuesday. But all of a sudden, it's all healed up. You know, everybody thinks that, or not everybody, but a lot of the analysts think, well, that was much ado about nothing. Of course, it caused a lot of people that sold calves last week about 20 bucks a hundred, or maybe more in some places. But now they're saying that technically we've got all kinds of signals that say this thing's going to get better and stay better again. Of course, we continue to have all kinds of bullish fundamentals, and they just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and maybe a little more yet, because last week we finally saw the box beef cutout rally get started, and now we've got your choice boxes up there nearing 310, which they were just hanging right around $3 and dipping below and back over for several weeks. But now they're catching a hold of some of this seasonal holiday season demand. There'll be a big demand for rib rolls and things like that, guys, as we're nearing the Christmas parties and getting ready for, of course, Thanksgiving, and of course that's Turkey Day, but a lot of people like to eat prime rib on Thanksgiving. But soon after Thanksgiving, we see big demand for beef and the top cuts of beef, as people like to get together and celebrate with their families around the holidays and in between the holidays. But that has come finally. We've been waiting for that. We've been saying we're going to have a November rally, and we're just now getting into November, guys, and it indeed looks like we are going to get one. We saw your fat cattle market in your southern plains come on strong late last week. You know, I know that at this time a week ago, we sure weren't thinking that we were going to be getting $185 in Texas and Kansas for fat cattle, but indeed we did. And it could be called a little bit higher in Kansas because they sold a lot of them at 84 the previous week. But all of a sudden, things are looking pretty good, and we're getting excited about it. I think we're going to finish out the year on a real positive note here. We're not looking for any more rugs to be pulled out from under us. Of course, if they decide to, you know, there's not much we can do about it. But guys, you just have to protect yourself with an LRP or something to prevent losing these big prices out here. If you got calves to sell later in the year or early next year, you've got to protect yourself, guys, because you don't want to miss out on this market. And you say, oh, it's going to cost me $6 or $8 or $10 a hundred to protect yourself on this big market. Guys, a lot of people lost 20 bucks a hundred last week. So you've got to do it. Your CFTC's Commitment of Traders report to come out late last week said that your commercial longs, i.e. the Packers and those people that affiliate with the Packers, they took the long place of the managed money or the funds. So now they're holding those long positions. Well, that's a bullish signal. If they're thinking this thing's going to get good, they want to be able to pick up a little bit there. It's not really a long hedge. They're just kind of betting on the market to go up because they know it's going to. But also they can pull that thing out just as fast or faster than what we saw last Monday. So you got to be able to protect yourself. And you don't want to miss out on this big market just trying to save a few dollars a hundred there, guys. But just really light runs in your feeder cattle sales on Monday. Even your big high volume Monday regional sales didn't have hardly anything. Oklahoma City only had 2,000. Joplin only had 2,700. Yes, they got big rains in those areas, especially in Oklahoma, North Texas, where a lot of Oklahoma City's cattle come from. They had huge rains there. I told you I was there over the weekend and just about floated away. But it's also, like I said, fair weather. You know, you get that first cold snap and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to get out there and get those things up or not. But I thought it felt good, and I think a lot of other people did too. That cold, brisk weather. On Monday, I was out west of Fort Sumner, New Mexico, videoing some fancy heifers for Monsanto Angus, and I thought it felt pretty good. All of us that were there videoing those cattle thought that it was a nice change, and we were looking forward to the change of weather and change of season. But you know, you will see people get more used to that as we go forward. I've lived up in the northern plains, lived up in the Twin Cities area there for a time, and you know, people didn't even pay any attention to the weather. You know, if it didn't really matter what it was, 30 below or 10 below, what's the difference? You know, you really don't know. Northwest Missouri, we always like the weather to stay in the low 20s. That way you could walk out into the lots and feed buckets. You could stay above it. If it got any warmer than that, you'd bust through the crust and lose a muck boot there. But it's getting cooler. It's getting that time of year, guys, and the cooler weather is going to improve the health on these calves drastically, make them so much easier to straighten out. And the big moisture that we got up through the central and north Texas areas up into Oklahoma and all the way up into, like I said, Joplin area, that is going to make lots of wheat grazing for winter wheat grazers, guys, and bring about a lot more demand for these calves. A lot of people didn't think they were going to have much wheat, so they really hadn't got many calves in. This will spur calf buying for stockers to turn out on that winter wheat. So that's another good thing. Let's look at your Punchy Pick winners. You know, the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. We've been having so much fun with that. Everybody can send in a Punchy Pick just with your phone. You see something out in your daily activities that looks pretty punchy, snap a picture of it send that picture to Punchy at NationalBeefWire.com. You're automatically entered to win the grand prize, which is a bunch of really cool swag from Beaver County or Beaver Feed in Beaver, Oklahoma. They've got neat stuff. And in Beaver County Stockyards, of course, they've got the coolest stuff too. But the main prize and the grand prize package is a whole case of Therapies, which is changing this industry, guys. If you don't know about Therapies, you haven't talked to people about it, it is really changing things. It's a revolutionary product. It's safe. It's easy to administer. It's cheap, but it's still nice to get a whole case of it for free, but it costs $3 a dose. But everybody wants to try it. But I've got all your Punchy Pick winners here, and it's quite a bit of stuff here. But the only one that's going to get a prize is the grand prize winner, and it's a dandy. But we get lots of kids stuff, and so we put them in the kids corral. We're wanting Punchy stuff, and a lot of people are sending their kids stuff, which we like to see that too, and some of the best ones we want to share with you. But in the kids corral, we've got Derek Davis from Mound City, Kansas, sent in this pic of his daughter, and she's heartbroken, not wanting to sell her show calf at the 4-H sale. And I'll tell you what, that's a pretty cool picture right there. Your next one is Jackson Meatler. I think it's Meatler. It might be Meitler, but I think it's Meatler. He's a 6th generation Kansas rancher like that. He wants to be out there every day and get shit on his boots, and he's all about it. And we look forward to him growing up in this industry and staying tough and sending us Punchy Pics down the line somewhere. But congratulations to Jackson for getting mentioned there. Then maybe the best of the kids corral was Micah Fly, and he told his mother that he wanted to try out and see what that lick tub tastes like. It smells good, and it just looked good, and he could not resist, so he had to try out the lick tub. So I thought that was a pretty good kids pick. But now for your Punchy Pick winners, the top 3. 3rd place is Roland Hawkins from San Saba, Texas. Tell you what, down in Central Texas this last summer, it was so hot and so dry. And 100-degree heat and the drought, they were having windmill problems there, and the windmill guy was backed up. He couldn't get to him, and so Roland had his brother come over there, and they rigged up an old school block and tackle and ended up using a pickup to pull the sucker rod and the pipe out and repair that well. It's really hard to really gather everything that's going on in that picture, but I guarantee you it's pretty punchy stuff there. And congratulations to Roland Hawkins and his brother there for getting 3rd place in the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. 2nd place is pretty damn punchy. How about Nicholas Waldo gathering pears off one of his pastures there? And he had some dry cows that got back on him when they were trying to gather those pears. And, you know, they figured they'd just get them later. They got the pears pinned, went back with their horses to get those cows, got them roped, tied those cows down. That's pretty punchy right there, to tie those big dry cows down. And then they thought, well, gosh, now how are we going to get them? Have to drag them in the trailer, this and that. Horses are wore out. It was Sunday. They were wore out. They didn't want to fool with them. They went and got the bale bed, and one at a time they lifted those cows in there and carried them back to the pens there. But I thought that was a pretty punchy pick right there from Nicholas Waldo. But your grand prize winner, 1st place in the Punchy Pick of the Month contest here with a feeder flash, is Randy DeWeber. And he sent in this pic of Callista Dunlap, who is 19 years old, from Jacksboro, Texas. She found her nurse cow bogged down in the mud. It was her favorite. She piled in the mud and in the wet there with no boots on, didn't have a phone or anything to save that cow. That cow was drowning, and she sat there in the mud and held that cow's head out of the water for over an hour till somebody started missing her, went looking for her, and found her over there trying to save that cow. Where's PETA at when you need them? You think we don't like the stock? Do we realize how much the stock brings? Why would we want to abuse the stock? We want to save the stock. We want them to be healthy. We want them to be happy. And congratulations to Randy and Callista. And I think they are more than deserving of the grand prize of the Punchy Pick of the Month contest there. And I hope they enjoy their prizes. Let's look at your board to open the week on Monday. October live cattle futures up 12 cents at 184.12. December up 102 at 183 1/4. Your back months had good gains on live cattle, up 82 cents to up $1.30. How about feeder cattle? November feeders up 77 cents at 237.67. January up $1.17 at 236.87. Back months on feeder cattle up 42 to up 80. Nice gains to start the week on your cattle futures. Corn for December down 2.5 cents a bushel at 478 1/4. November beans down 14.5 at 1282 3/4. That big order from China that they were rumored expecting early in the week must not have showed up. But Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December was up 2 cents at 645 a bushel. Let's talk about your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade out of your 5-area feeding region. Direct trade on fat cattle in the 5-area, they sold 67,400 negotiated, which is not terrible for the way things are now, but not nearly as good as the previous week, which was 82,900. But same week a year ago was 67,300, about the same. But live sales negotiated in your 5-area feeding region, fat steers and heifers range from 180 to 186. Only 343 head at the 180, over 2,400 head at the 186. That price range was $1 to $2 lower. The losses were in the northern plains and in the Midwest. Your weighted average on live steers was 184.02, down $2.13 compared to the previous week's weighted average. But that was 30 cents better than what we saw on the last report up through Thursday. So Friday's sales were higher, and mostly in the southern plains, and brought that up a little bit. But your dress trade ranged from 287 to 292, only 158 head at the 287, 655 head at the 292. That price range was $2.50 to $3 lower. Your weighted average on dressed steers last week was 290.06, down 351. But generally, your market in the southern plains last week was steady to a buck higher. The buck higher was in Kansas. There was enough cattle that sold at 184 last week, and this week they all sold at 185. You had to call it a buck higher. Texas was steady, but 185 in Texas and Kansas on direct sales live, and that was pretty darn good. We're getting short finished cattle in the southern plains, guys. Northern plains market was $1 to $3 lower, from 183 to 186, mostly because they sold them earlier in the week, closer to that bad Monday futures market there. We should not let the futures market dictate what our current spot cash market is. But dress sales $4 lower for the most part at 290, but we're looking to recover some more of that this week. Nationwide, we sold 77,500 head in a negotiated manner last week all over the country, compared to 101,600 the previous week and 85,200 the same week a year ago. Of that 77,500, 31%, which is more than what we like, was sold for the 15 to 30 day delivery. I think that was a lot of that 185 that sold all over early to midweek there, when everybody was still trying to recover from the sharply lower futures there. We don't like to do that because it kind of sets the market up if they've got cattle ready to deliver for 2 to 4 weeks out, but 31% of those, or 24,000 of them, were for that. But negotiated grid sales last week total 42,200, forward contracts 16,500, and formula sales, your AMAs that do not lend anything to price discovery, 254,900 head. But of your negotiated trade, last week Iowa sold 33,200, which is a big movement for them. Nebraska 19,300, which is a little light for them. Kansas was light at 8,800, and Texas only sold 6,100 head in a negotiated manner last week. Box beef cutout values, your choice was up 171 on Monday afternoon at 309.28. Your select was up 77 at 280.89. That is on a rally, guys, and we expect that to really gain by leaps and bounds here as we go through November, like I said, with that holiday season demand. Your slaughter for the first day of the week, about normal at 125,000 estimated harvest there. Talk about what else is going on. Your night latch group, that's Andy Cunningham and family right there. They can help you with all your risk management, your agriculture insurance needs. You're looking for drought insurance, looking for crop insurance. You want him to show you how he uses the livestock gross margin policies to hedge the risk on these feedlot cattle and your feed at the same time. For more information, go to nightlatch.net. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Late in the day on Monday, sitting at 231.21, down another 27 cents. We're about to get the brakes on the losses, but still a little bit cheaper. CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index lost a bunch there, and the latest available is down 236.53, but down over $3 from the last change, and so it needed to do that because it was hanging up there way too high. But talk about a cow sale you guys may be interested in. November the 2nd here on Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. at Callaway Livestock Center in Kingdom City, Missouri. That is right in the center of Missouri, right on I-70, just a few miles east of Columbia, Missouri there. They've got over 1,000 head for their monthly special. They're going to have about 300 fall pairs, about 300 spring calvers, about 300 heavy bred cows that are due right away, and about 100 bred heifers. So if you're interested in looking at the full list, go to CallawayLivestock.com and you can look at the full list. You can go on to DVAuction.com on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, view and bid that sale right there in central Missouri. Let's talk about your big sales. On Monday, we really didn't have any big sales. Russell, Iowa was pretty big, but other than that, we didn't see too many big sales. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, like I mentioned earlier, only had 2,000 head. It was just too wet. There was some cattle areas around there in central Oklahoma where they got nearly 10 inches of rain. You can't move cattle like that, and it was cold too, so this wasn't a lot of push to get any cattle in there. Couldn't really get a test on the market, of course, in Oklahoma City. Likely what this is going to do is cause them to have too many cattle next week, and it'll keep the market from recovering from last week's losses a little bit, but we just hate to see weather delays in your marketing of feeder cattle. But Joplin Regional Stockyards had a little better run, 2,700 head. Was mostly steady and a light test. Market News did say that they had some heifer calves that traded $6 to $10 higher, where you can have comparisons there. So pretty good sale there at Joplin Regional Stockyards. Didn't take them long to do it. Your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day for Monday was Russell Livestock Market in Russell, Iowa. They're a DVAuction broadcaster also. 4,600 head on Monday. They had a lot of all classes there. Had a lot of fleshy ball and calves. They sold at a discount, but not terrible discount. But just pulled out and going to tell you about the weaned 5 weights and the weaned 7 weight steers. They had 283 weaned 5-weight steer calves. They averaged 571 with a weighted average price of $281.37. They had 366 head of weaned 7-weight calves, averaged 752 on the weight and $251.43 on the price. Good sale there in Russell, Iowa. Give you some individual quotes from around Joplin Regional Stockyards. Best quote came on 62 head of red Angus steers. They weighed 790 pounds and bring $248.50. Bowman Livestock Marketing in Bowman, North Dakota sold 72 little peewee steers. They weighed 375 and bring $381. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Callaway Livestock Center in Kingdom City, Missouri, was 120 yearling steers, weighed 887 and bring $242.35. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.